Okay, so
Please be advised, the following program is for adult audience only. Explicit language is used. You have been warned.
yep, mainly Questo.
Fuck you.
Welcome to Let Me Ask You a Question, Episode 8. I'm your host, Mike D.
This is Quest.
And today, folks, we're going to get a little serious. We want to bring this topic of what we call, well, what the internet calls doxing.
For those of you who don't know, doxing is the search for and publish of private or identifying information about a particular individual, usually on the internet, typically with malicious intent. To give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about, let's look at the situation with Soy Park. For those of you who don't know, on the Colbert show,
Colbert.
I'm sorry. It looks like Colbert. I'm sorry.
You never heard of Stephen Colbert? Come on, guy.
I watch anime.
Oh, man.
Anyway, he's quoted by saying, "I am willing to show the hashtag Asian community I care by introducing the Ching Chong Ding Dong Foundation for sensitivity to Orientals or whatever." Yeah, very sensitive. And when that show aired, Miss Park tweeted that she found the show to be racist, and it was very insensitive with the hashtag Cancel Colbert. Because of that, you had many people, both white and Asian, usually males, who attacked this woman with threats to death, rape, torture, calling her racial slurs, and it's unacceptable in a country where we promote freedom of speech. It's very unacceptable.
Well, we were watching the Sci-Fi Channel earlier. There's a show called The Internet Ruined My Life, where they featured the young lady mentioned, Miss Soy Park. She explained her side, saying basically that she did not actually wish Stephen Colbert's show to be canceled. She didn't want that at all. She wanted to just draw people's attention to the racism that people oftentimes cast on Asian people in general, and because of that, she was interviewed on an Australian news show, and then her comment was then twisted to say that white men have no opinion. And then the internet took it and ran with it, like it always does. It led to this woman basically fearing her life, all right, for I think it was 2 years of her looking over her shoulder. There was even a time where somebody says, I'm an ex-military sniper, and you're fucked. That's what he said. You're fucked. He identified what she was wearing at the time when she was by the window, and basically was planning on shooting her. I don't know if he was scaring her or whatever, but this made her basically flee her own house, and she kind of disappeared and stayed at other friends' house. I mean, she went through a terrible ordeal, all because she was standing up for what she felt was an oppressive force around her. Now, Stephen Colbert, that's a good show. I've seen him, and he wasn't meaning in a sense to be oppressive. But because of the circumstances and because of how things ended up twisting around, even Stephen Colbert had to say, hey, if you're out here trying to hurt this young lady for just tweeting something, you need to stop it immediately.
Kudos to Colbert.
Yeah, Stephen Colbert he's a really good guy. So
kudos for that. Not for the comment though, but kudos for that.
Yeah. So I don't think you should be harassed or your life threatened simply because you have an opinion. We all have an opinion, and you have a right to it. You do. Okay? And if you say something over the internet, you know, it's okay for the other person to say something back. In my opinion, only cowards use the anonymity of the internet to say hurtful things. I believe if you want to say something hurtful, you should say it to that person's face. Be brave enough to do that.
I agree. I mean, the fact of the matter is cyberbullying, which this falls under, is a growing problem in this country, especially with social media being what it is, social. And I really don't want to say that. Well, I hate saying it. One form that I think is underlooked with this issue, it coined the term revenge porn, in which cases you have domestic disputes between two individuals who then post information about the other one, very private information about the other one, and it leads to very dangerous situations where one woman told a story that she had men knocking on her door trying to break into her house and have sex with her and her kid because an ex-boyfriend posted something like this, that, you know, she wants kids to rape her daughter and all this, and you have men coming to her house for that. People, I'm gonna call it, it's bitch assness. Like, I don't play this political game of trying to be nice and shit. I'm not doing that. You're a bitch. Call it for what it is. Some people don't like my speech. Fuck you. I don't care. That's what it is. You know, no matter the situation, as an adult, you should be mature enough to walk away from a relationship without resorting to such tactics such as that. Not only did you place this woman's life in that, you endangered a child. Above all else, you endangered a child. And I feel as though the criminal justice system needs to push hard on this, which they are pushing harder for, because many people are trying to fight and say, well, it's social media, so they put it out there, you know, it's not really private. But no, it is. In 27 states, there are laws against such actions, Maryland being one of them, and it falls under stalking and harassment. So if you post a picture of someone online without their express consent, it is a crime. That's just what it is. They gave it to you in confidence, it should stay in confidence. It is a crime. Period. Yeah. No other way around it.
Okay, so this phenomenon, it's nothing new. You know, people sent letters. You know, it's an instant gratification like the internet. But beforehand, people used to send letters doing the same thing when they would see a news article that they didn't like. They'd see a TV show that they didn't like, you know. But still, at this point in time, we have to just look, and I think we need to grow as a society. And I think we all need to maybe work towards eliminating that. Like, again, I welcome free speech. It's fine. And it's okay to disagree. But when it gets to the point where you're now out there putting people's families at risk, threatening people's children, because this stuff does that. People get mad. I can't beat you with my words, so I'm gonna physically beat you. You know, harassing, constantly bombarding with messages, trolling. I mean, look, it's okay to troll a little bit. I don't even mind that too much. You know, everything in good fun. But there should be a point where someone should say, hey, that is off limits. You know? Personally, I don't care. You can attack this show all you want. You say it sucks.
You can say
You
you
can say
tell your
that.
friends not to watch it.
Yep. You can say the host stutters too damn much. I don't care. It's true fact. I stutter a little bit.
You can say I cuss too much. I have a parental advisory for a reason.
But the fact of the matter is that my family is off limits to you. You know, I'm about that life. not to incriminate myself, but I'm about that life. You come to my house with that bullshit, they're gonna find pieces of you.
Self-incriminating.
Hey, you've been warned.
Well, branching away from that, but going along with this topic, I was watching a video earlier on YouTube in which I'm gonna put his name out there, Alex Jones. I think he's stupid. Yes, that's my personal opinion. I have a right to say that. I think the show is stupid. I have a friend who watches something and he comes up with the most stupidest things from this show, where they were basically harassing the Obamas. Like, really. Now, granted, you're going to have people talk about presidents, but to the point of death threats and threatening children, this man's children, when he's the president of the United States, means you're kind of an idiot. Mm-hmm. In my book. I mean, you're going to threaten the president of the United States and his children. Really? Really? And then assault his wife. Really? Really? But the fact that we have take the internet, which is a great resource, do not get me wrong, and the internet is not bad, it's not good, it's just people. And human beings, I'm sad to say, are the most disgusting, ignorant creatures I have come in contact with in my life. I'm ashamed to say I am a part of this species sometimes. I'm ashamed.
Well, you technically are falling away from it, but
but the point I'm trying to make is that all of this is unnecessary. It's disgusting that, you know, we cannot as adults mostly. I'm not even getting on the kids yet, but I'm going to tear into them. But as adults, cannot have a simple discussion without resorting to fear-mongering just to prove a point. And that we resort to such childish banter and threats. And you're right, the internet has made people feel safe that they can say whatever they want to, just like Trump rallies, and of no consequence. And that is a problem. It has put people in this mindset that I do not have to be held accountable for my actions.
Right.
And that is a problem. Trump rallies.
You know what? This is the thing. So we always like to keep the internet free and safe and allow everyone to express their opinions. But what do you think where do you think this will go if people continue to harass other people on the internet? Eventually, someone is going to put some limits on something. And then you talk about your free speech being taken away now.
Oh, you haven't seen nothing.
I mean, come on. All it needs to do is that it just needs some money backing behind it. And, of course, that could be easily done.
Easily.
And the next thing you know, we got censored internet. You know, we got, hey, this is allowed on the internet, that's not allowed on the internet.
It will be like China. It will be like China's internet. And nobody wants that, because I like my anime. But moving on, Huffington Post released a montage of many people who were fired from their Facebook posts. Now, many people feel as though they feel as though Facebook should be a place where they can go and freely post without fearing their jobs will look at that. You're wrong.
Yep, you need to watch what you say.
One woman who, I believe it was Fridays, she worked there and she made racial slurs and later was fired. And, you know, some people went, well, it was on Facebook, and so she should be fired. Other people looking at it as, well, she's expressing a racial bias, and she works for the public, and she handles people's food. This can cause a serious issue. And I'm like this. This is my thing. Yes, Facebook should be a place you should feel free to say what you need to say. But, again, as an adult, you have to be mindful about what you say. If you want to be racist, that is absolutely fine. If you want to call me the N-word because I don't use it, that's absolutely fine. Now, what I choose to do after that?
No, because then you're giving
No, I see. I know what you're saying.
Give them a platform. You give people a platform to say, "Well, fine then. That's just my result of I feel as though what Sori Park said was justify me stalking her.
No.
Because what she said, it offended me so much that I felt as though that she's you're giving people a platform to stand on.
And I'm gonna get on that too, because here's the thing: people take this word offensive and stretch it and run with it. Seriously, I had a conversation with a guy, and he said, what do people find Black Lives Matter offensive? And I asked him, how? How is it? Explain to me how it's offensive. Well, it's like the N-word. How? Black Lives Matter isn't, that term isn't putting anybody down. It's not disrespecting anybody. If that's the case, then how me wearing a cross or me reading the Quran or any little thing I do that somebody disagrees with must be offensive. And people take this word and run with it. No. Not everything somebody says and do is offensive. Me taking a piss is not offensive. If me having a penis is offensive. I mean, really, people run with this word.
Well, it's hard to say what's offensive and what's not offensive. I mean, like seriously, people are accustomed to different things, and things do offend you. But I believe if someone offends you verbally, then you're allowed to offend them verbally back. You know what I mean? But I don't believe that it should stretch out to the point where it's harassment. So I was at work today. I talk with a guy often there, and a lot of the people I work with listen to us talk. Now, me and him don't see eye to eye on a few issues, but when we exchange, we disagree cordially. And that's what I think people need to learn to do. You should be. It's fine to have a different opinion and to disagree, but I think when you come to the point where you are now trying to throw daggers at people, and you're no longer even arguing about the point, and you're just trying to
hurt the person.
Yeah, then that's a discussion that you shouldn't have.
And I agree. And that's where that's what I mean when I say people take this thing of being offensive to the extreme. If it's not this is what I think, in my opinion. Like I said, this is my opinion. I'm just saying me. I'm not saying this for everybody.
Okay, but before you go there, let's do this. Let me ask you, what is your point where you say something is offensive? Because where you say something is your point of where you say something's offensive, some people are higher or lower,
and I agree,
than where you are.
And I agree. That's it for me personally. If it's not directed as a racial slur, if it's not a racial slur, or it's not anything that promotes or antagonizes violence against me or my loved ones, then I'll take the mature. Then I'll walk away. I agree with you. We should, as adults, first and foremost, should be able to have a discussion about something and walk away from it. If even me and you disagree on some things, do I get offended by it? No, not really, because we're having an intellectual discussion about something. I don't believe in argument or debating. It's asinine. I believe in discussing something, trying to learn something from the other person. Some things we're going to agree with, some things we're not, and we walk away. Even where I work at. Me and my employees, we're two different ethnicities. Some things, when we have conversations, especially when he wants to talk about race and stuff, we're going to see eye to eye. And some things we're just not. Now, was he offended by some things I said? Yes. Has he said some things that were offensive? Yes. Should I say something? Probably should have, but you know what? I don't let it bother me. Because I understand the context of the conversation we're having, and we're both coming from an understanding of you're trying to understand something. I don't get mad at it. Now, it'd be different, in my opinion, if he was using these, like you said, if he's using that to throw daggers, and I can see that, then no, it would change that. It would change the ramifications of that. But for most situations, I feel as though we live in a society that, fair to say, makes people soft. Like, seriously. At one point in time, when I was little, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Well, that's never true.
It is never true. I'm not saying words won't never hurt you, but I remember growing up, I got made fun of for being dark skinned. I got picked on it relentlessly from middle school all the way up to high school, and I got in fights, numerous fights of it because in elementary school and middle school because of that. And it took a while. So I'm like, you know what? That's all you can say is I'm dark skinned. That's all you had to say. So I'm gonna let it go. I feel as though we had to get to a point as people that people are gonna take jabs at you for many different things. That's just whether how you look, how you dress. Granted, it shouldn't happen, but people are gonna say what they're gonna say. Now, me personally, I feel as though once it comes over the internet, over people you don't personally know or deal with on a daily basis, if that's the case, let it go. If it comes to the point where they're threatening you, that's what the police are for. That's what screenshots are for. Have evidence and report them.
I feel like people who do this type of thing, who do this doxing and who harass people on the internet, them themselves feel powerless in their own lives. You know, so they have to express themselves somewhere. They have to find a way to feel like I have power somewhere. That's where this comes from, I think, mainly because a lot of times it may you they might not even care about the actual situation that's being brought up here, but they care that
they have power over that person.
Oh yes, you know, or the fact that it's a revenge thing. So again, because you're not intellectually smart to keep up with the words being said here, so you like, oh, I can't beat you with my vocabulary, so now I have to beat you physically. What, you know, or I have to try to overwhelm you and harass you and make you feel unsafe because for somehow you have now stripped me of the power that I had. So in order to gain that back, I have to basically make your life a living hell.
And I go back to my point. It's sad, but moving straight from that, I want to talk about cyberbullying for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, many people they heard the term. You know, they see people go through it, but I don't think they understand the full extent of cyberbullying. And for those of you who don't know what cyberbullying is, you're gonna learn today. So, cyberbullying is bullying that takes place using electronic technology, usually social media, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It usually involves electronic devices like cell phones, computers, and tablets. And again, like I said, a lot of cyberbullying, I feel as though bullying in general has gotten worse than it was because usually you see these people that they gotta say it, they usually say it to you and it can be resolved right then and there. But it's different when you can take somebody's picture or anything and post it on the internet for millions of people to see and millions of people to say whatever they want to say to you,
mm-hmm.
and it stays and it's always there and it never goes away. And I think that's a major problem. When we were watching the show, like we were watching earlier, you know, you had a young lady who came on there and said she had a boyfriend at the time. You know, they were dating, whatever the case may be. Sent him a picture, a explicit picture between him and her, and he showed it to everybody. And she went through school. You know, people pointed found out to the point where she wanted to commit suicide. And that is a problem. That is a major problem. Like that should never happen. Ever.
So I wonder, do you think too, part of the issue is because of social media, most people don't know how to deal with other people.
Yes, I feel
personally.
Yes, and the APA did a study. I researched it while I was in high school where they correlated studies that, you know, people are like junkies to Facebook and social media. It's like a drug to them.
Mm-hmm.
It has the same psychological effects as it does somebody who uses illegal drugs. They get the same dopamine effect and they want to keep getting it more and more and more. I have family members who will stay on social media all day long and will not interact with a single person face to face. And we see it in our communities. You know, I remember I took a girl on a date.
Mm-hmm.
I took a girl out on a date. She could not hold a conversation face to face because she's so used to texting. Like, she really couldn't. It was hard. It was difficult to have a conversation face to face. And it astounded me because I was like, I'm right here. Like, why can't you talk to me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like she doesn't have nothing to say, but when she texts me or something, she got a full blown conversation. And you see this steadily with our generation, and as time goes on, as more technology comes out, that's how people are being wired. They cannot socially interact with you in a setting. It has to be a screen there to separate you because it offers a safety wall. Granted, we have many other factors going on. People are being overly emotional, and that's my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
People are being overly emotional, especially with the music coming up now, all in their feelings about something that you can't trust it. All these other factors.
Well, the fact of the matter is because you're not actually dealing with people on a daily basis. The studies have shown that more people meet actually on the internet than in person nowadays. So it doesn't. There's some social things lost here because you don't necessarily meet with people all the time. So you don't get people's tones. You don't grasp, and you can't. It makes it difficult to tell when people are lying to you, being dishonest. You can't read body language, and then it takes you from a position where it could be a small disagreement into a larger one because you're not used to socially interacting with people on a personal level.
Right.
You interact with the computer and you use the computer as a shield, and sometimes that's what people use to protect themselves. Okay, I work in a security field and I see it all the time. Some people are so used to talking to people on the computer and using it as a shield that even some of them bring it into their real life and they say these very rude things to people and think that they won't get punched in the face for saying it.
But earlier you said that if somebody calls me the N-word and I retaliate, I'm messing with you.
Okay.
Point out double standard. But that's besides the point.
What I'm saying is basically you have to be careful.
What you say.
What you say. You do have to own some of that. You do have to own watch with your tone. But you should be able to express your feelings
Respectfully.
Respectfully, without fearing for your life.
I agree. Just pulling up some statistics on cyberbullying from cyberbullying.org. In 2015, a random sample was taken from 457 students ages 11 to 15 from a middle school in the Midwest. 34.4% said they have been cyberbullied over a lifetime. By lifetime, I'm gonna take that as multiple years for a good chunk of their life, a good chunk of their years. 15% said I have been cyberbullied. 19.4% said they have rumors spread of them online. 12.8% said they have mean or hurtful comments online. 10.1% say people threaten to hurt them over a text message. 8.3% says somebody threatened to hurt them online. 6.4% pretended to be them online. Wow. 4.6% posted a mean or hurtful picture of them online, and 21% said one or more times.
You just kicked a whole lot of numbers out for a bunch of people.
For a bunch of people. But and the numbers are great, but I'm gonna post. I'm also having you guys have to put the link out there for you to check out for yourselves. But these numbers should not exist at all, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But the fact that you have over almost 35% of people saying they have been cyberbullied for a lifetime span, I'm a narrow lifetime from 11 to 15 to 4 years, is atrocious.
11 to 4.
11 to 15 years, so a 4-year span that they have been cyberbullied.
Okay.
I'm going to narrow that down for lifetime just to give people an idea.
Okay.
And you had 21% said it happened one to two or more times. That's in that 30-day span. That's just in 30 days. That is a problem. Another one we want to look at is the victimization of who goes through this. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. And the gender plays a major role too.
Oh yeah, women
get it the most.
For some strange reason, men cannot handle when a woman has an opinion. It's
oh my
weird.
God, Beyonce's black. No.
It has nothing to do with what we just talked about.
Yes, it does. She's a woman who happens to be black with an opinion, and the world lost their minds.
Okay. All right. But the fact of the matter, women are people too.
Trump.
You know, and as much as we kind of bash Hillary Clinton on the show a bit,
she's still a woman. We never bashed her for being a woman.
we never bashed her for being a woman.
We bashed her for being a lying ass politician.
Yeah, we don't like her policies. You know, and I will speak out against anybody who would just say, well, I just don't want a woman in office. Well, you're an idiot.
You came from... I challenge people to do this. Everything you say about women, write it down and give it to your mother.
Exactly. If you won't talk to your mom, you won't talk to your grandma, you won't talk to your aunt that way. Or your sister. Why would you say it to any other woman?
Exactly.
And the ones who do talk to your mom, to your grandmother, and the aunt that way... Shit. Yeah, you ain't shit. Okay? Honestly. Get your life together. Go get some counseling. Work that shit out.
Right. So moving back to the cyberbullying and this is by gender. 28.8% male said they were cyberbullied compared to 40.6% female. That is atrocious. And you know what? And it usually, the reason, in my opinion, why it's easy to cyberbully women, in my opinion, we live in a society that objectifies women and sexualizes women as sexual objects and nothing more. We live in a society that does that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And to branch it down to go even deeper, we exoticize anything that's not the standard status quo of beauty.
Is that a word? Exoticize?
I made it up. Look,
exoticize.
America made up his own language. Why can't I?
Okay. At this point, I have no comment. But honestly, this is something that I encourage everyone to look into. Speak out. All right. If you got friends that are being bullied this way, if you got people who are putting people's personal information out there,
report them on Facebook.
Yeah, report it. Get them off. Erase them. Don't be friends with those people. You know, one thing I do realize there's a component of attention that goes with this. Stop giving it to them. You know, it's hard to have an argument with a person who doesn't speak to you.
It is. It really is.
You know,
argue with yourself. Just argue with yourself.
You know, but look, let's get on out of here. All right, you guys stay safe out there.
Be respectful of your fellow man.
All right.
And by man, I don't mean gender. Before we get all this political craze, I mean humans.
All right. Take care. I'll leave you with the show information. Okay. You can reach the show at facebook.com/AskLearnQuestion. Follow us on Twitter, which is @AskLearnQuestion. Subscribe to us on YouTube, which is Let Me Ask You a Question, with a question mark at the end. Search channels will be right at the top. And the show's official email page is asklearnquestion@gmail.com.